Good morning, and welcome to Unabashedly Resolute. I am the host of the Daily Musings, the drive-in. We call it many things. And this morning, I want to talk about something just extremely controversial because, well, I'm an American. We live in America. I have a right and a duty to speak about things that are controversial. And if I choose to remain silent on controversial topics and allow philosophies to go forward that are not only bad, but damaging, then I have not performed my due diligence as an American, and I have let society go by the wayside without stepping into the fray. I don't want to do that. I feel it is essentially cowardice for me when I see something that is wrong philosophically, that is becoming mainstream policy and a part of mainstream culture, and I don't stand up and say, no, this is wrong. Not only is it wrong, it cannot be correct. It is impossible. It is incoherent. It's an incoherent philosophy. If I don't stand up and say something, because this is my area of expertise, I will feel as I have not performed the duty that I am called to do, the duty that I am called to do, the duty that I am given, the duty that I am to perform, given the job that I'm in. The thing that I am called to do is to teach. I am a Christian apologist, certified both by Biola University and the ACA, the Oxford Center for Christian Apologetics. I did study in Oxford theology and apologetics in 2017 and 2018. So I am qualified to speak on these matters as it relates to philosophy, theology, and Christianity. So if anyone would question my credentials, I have credentials to speak on these matters. However, even if I don't have the credentials, there is something that has been nagging at me for a while. There's something that has been nagging at me for a very long time. Not only for the last 10 years, but the last 2 years has really been bugging me. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I couldn't quite articulate what I was feeling, but I knew something wasn't right. And as I begin to pull on this thread of transgenderism, I have found what I believe to be something of grave importance. And it goes right along with me saying, even if I'm not qualified to speak about it, as far as academic authority, I have unalienable rights that are given to me by God. Because think about this for a minute. Did you create yourself? Did you create language? Did you create communication? Did you create thinking and thought? Did you, by your own will, create thinking? Did you create logic? Did you create science? Did you create literature? Did you create anything in your life? Have you, this supposedly autonomous being who can interpret reality any way they would like. Name me one thing that you have created whole cloth, ex nihilo. I will wait for eternity for you to come up with one thing that you have created ex nihilo that was not gifted to you prior to your existence. Gifted to you either by a culture or by an intelligent mind. The grand designer, the creator, nature and nature's God, the universe. There is nothing that you have that you are responsible in self-perpetuating. Nothing. You created nothing of yourself. It was given to you. You woke up one day in the middle of your story and said, holy crap, I have consciousness. I am. Wait, this thing is a am. I'm a self. What is self? What am I? Where am I? Who am I? Am I good? Where am I going? Why am I? You start wrestling with these questions. Not a single one of you has been able to produce something out of nothing that you can say, I did this. I created this. We merely manipulate matter around us, either for the optimization of the matter and our matter, for the flourishing of the matter or our matter, or the perpetuation of suffering for the matter and our matter. That's it. We are not creators in the sense of ex nihilo. We are manipulators. We take what's been given to us and we try to perpetuate it. So in literature and in philosophy, we say it like this: we stand upon the shoulders of giants. We stand on the shoulders of giants. But here's the thing. Because I didn't create myself, and because I didn't create language, and I do not believe language is a complete social construct, I believe language is discoverable. And you can listen to my previous podcast to go about and understand that what I'm talking about language and communication being discoverable. Linguistics and grammar, yes, we created, but we created teleologically out of the understanding that language and communication are actually transcendent, and we are going from the lower to the higher, and therefore we need a thing that gets us closer to the higher, and the thing that gets us closer to the higher are linguistics and grammatical rules get us closer to the higher. And so there is a purpose to the grammatical rules. They are not arbitrary, but we use definitions of meaning, not merely relativistic interpretations of reality, to get to the greater understanding of reality. Are you following me? Are you following me? Language and linguistics is a vehicle for us to get closer to the true meaning of reality. And they're more refined, and the in a sense, the tighter the grammatical and linguistical rules are, in a sense, no, maybe not the tighter, the more balanced that the linguistical rules are and the grammatical language between the known and the unknown, between imagination and reason. That means we get a more a circumspect view, an optimal view of reality when we have a harmony between imagination and reason. And you're going, what the hell does this have to do with transgenderism? It has everything to do with it, because, as I was saying all the way back at the beginning, whether I am qualified according to the criteria of what one would consider an authority on the subject matters not, because I am made in the imago Dei, and I have been given language, I have been given self-reflection, I have been given consciousness and unconsciousness, I have been given voice, I understand linguistics and grammar, I can read and comprehend, I have a degree in English literature, I have another certification in theology and apologetics. I have 2 certifications in apologetics and 1 certification in theology from Oxford University. So I know a little bit about philosophy because I studied philosophy inside of apologetics and inside of theology. So I do have those markers to speak with the criteria of authority as given by academics even as well. So, but even if I did not have those qualifications, I am still permitted to speak on these things, even if I speak about them incorrectly or wrongly. I am still permitted. You can simply turn off the podcast right now and say, I don't want to listen to this guy. But you cannot constrain or compel my speech and say, morally, you can't say that. Legally, you can't say that, because the right to speech and the right for me to give my opinion, no matter how harsh, no matter how wrong, no matter how incorrect it is, it's still open to criteria. Its language is still open to criteria, and it's still open to honest and forthright dialogue and debate. So therefore, because you did not give me my speech, you did not give me my consciousness, you did not give me my existence, and with my existence comes the right for me to express myself that was not given to you, but was endowed upon me by my Creator. Therefore, you have 2 options. You have more options to this, but you have at least 2 options. 1, you can listen and you can engage and you can respond. 2, you can turn me off and go the other way. 3, you can speak about me harshly. You can attack me. You can try to get me censored or whatever you like. Your prerogative. But you do not have a moral right to say, I don't have a right to speak my opinion. Because my opinions and my thoughts cannot be constrained by the law. Oh, but you can't yell fire. You can't yell fire. You can't yell fire in a crowded building. Yes, you can. If there is a fire. In fact, you would be remiss and would be morally culpable if you did not yell fire in a crowded building if there was a fire. What you cannot do is you cannot threaten people's lives, and you cannot make threatening calls to action when there is no reason to make. You can't make false calls to action, and you can't make threatening calls to action. I can't call for the harm of certain people groups because I am threatening their life. I can, however, critique your philosophy and your reality and your religion and your way you see yourself. I can critique your language and your writing. I can critique that because that is a right as an imago Dei, as a human, as someone who has his own language. I am allowed by transcendent authority beyond you to speak my mind, because you have nothing to do with my existence. You did not cause it. You did not create me. I did not create myself. So therefore, the laws which govern me and govern my speech and govern my existence and govern my thinking and govern the right for me to protect myself and to speak out and have open debate in the public has nothing to do with you. You cannot stop it. You cannot compel it. You cannot mute it. If you do, you are in violation of transcendent moral law. Objective moral rights. You are violating those. So you may try to shut me up. You may try to say that America is not the greatest country on earth. You may try to say that the American flag is racist. You may try to say that the Constitution is a white supremacist document, and if you hold to it, you're a white supremacist. You can say those things, and you can even can even come through and put me in a concentration camp and put me in jail and say, we're going to re-educate you. I will still live as a Christian who sees each individual as equal, and I will treat them such as they are equal. I will not give preference to one person over the other. I will still live holding my hand over my heart and pledging allegiance to the flag and to the political aim of this country, the greatest political aim in the history of the world. The men who wrote this were flawed, but what they wrote was flawless. And so you may try to get inside my mind and control my thoughts, but you will not be able to. You did not give me the right to think. You had nothing to do with it. Therefore, I will not allow you. I will disabuse you of the notion that you can control my speech or that you can control my thoughts. I might be 100% wrong today. My thoughts on this might be 100% wrong, and you have the right to attack it. You have the right to critique it. You have the right to pull it apart, because guess what? If I'm wrong, I don't want to believe something that's wrong. I willfully give you the right to destroy what I'm saying, break it apart, and bring me something better and show me the error of my way. And that's what humans do. But don't think for a second that I will let you say, you're wrong, Wes, simply because I think you're wrong. Do better than that. Because I know people have written stories about seeing people going to the gas chambers of Auschwitz and Birkenau, and I've been there. I've seen the crematoriums. I've been there. I've stood there. I've walked into the showers where they gas people, and as I walked out, I said, can you imagine? I willfully walked in, and I'm under my own volition, I walked out. How many millions of people could say that they walked in and out of concentration camps under their own volition? And those people still went. They went into the crematorium, into the gas chambers. They went into the gas chambers with the words praising Adonai and praising Jesus. So don't think for a minute, just because you use force and you use constraint, that you can shut people up. Because you didn't give us speech. You didn't give us language. You didn't give us these rights. These rights are endowed by our Creator, transcendent rights above you and above myself. And therefore, I pledge allegiance to those rights. I pledge allegiance to that Creator. And I say, I will stand and believe in the political aim of the United States of America. And I will believe in the doctrine of Jesus Christ. And I will believe in the life, death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. And I will believe that forgiveness and love are the greatest tools we have, not coercion and not compelled speech. And I will say that I will hold my hand over my heart, and I will pledge allegiance to the political idea that has made America great. And I will confess with her sins with you, and I will pray for repentance for a nation that committed sin. But I will not damn and condemn every part of it. I will pray for forgiveness, to forgive you and forgive myself for being ignorant and for being wrong. But I will not be silenced. I will speak out, and I will say what I feel needs to be said, because that is my that is my moral obligation. To stand and say, you don't get to constrain my speech. Critique me all you want. Open debate. Call me on my phone. DM me and say, what's your number? We need to talk, and I will talk to you. Let's have an open debate on a live. I will do it. I don't want to be wrong. And I will willfully put any of my beliefs against anyone else's beliefs in the world. Not because I'm arrogant, but because if I'm wrong, I want to be shown I'm wrong. We give different beliefs. We debate beliefs because we are sharpening each other. The great militant atheists have a part to play. Even though I'm a Christian, I am so thankful for Sam Harris. I am so thankful for Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens and Daniel Dennett and Sean Carroll's and the Bertrand Russells of the world. I'm so thankful for them because they have shown me a version of Christianity that does not work, and I need not follow that in. The God of the Gaps hypothesis is wrong and is bad, and the atheist has shown us why it's wrong and why it's bad. Thank you, Richard Dawkins, for showing us that I don't need to believe in a created God. Thank you. You have made a contribution to furthering and strengthening the fundamental beliefs of Christianity. Thank you so much. That's the way open debate should work. But when you begin to censor and shut people down for ideas that you don't like, that is wrong. You don't have a right to censor speech, even though you don't like it. Even the Supreme Court in New York versus Sullivan says that governments cannot shut down debate or critique from the public. No matter how much they don't like it, no matter how abrasive or acerbic it is, they cannot shut down that speech. Because there has to be open critique. How do you know that you're right? Unless you wrestle with my thoughts. How do you know that you're correct unless you allow me to critique what you're saying and rip it apart and rip it to shreds and smash it down and build it back up? But here's what you're afraid of. You're afraid because your identity is tied to your beliefs. It's tied to it. And so if I start pulling on your beliefs, you're like, my whole identity is going to crash down. Well, guess what? It should. Because you don't even know who the hell you are. None of us do. We're trying to figure it out. And if I can tear apart your belief structure in five sentences, then your belief structure was found wanting. And it needs to be critiqued, and it needs to be refined, and it needs to be polished, and it needs to be reinforced. However, if people can take a crowbar to your belief system and they can dynamite and blow it up, whatever remains, you get to keep because that's the good stuff. And then you keep the good stuff that remains after they've blown everything up, and there's a little bit good, there's a little bit solid. Build on that, build on that, build on that. And then you become robust in your belief system. I will put my belief system up against anybody in the entire world, any academic, any theologian, any atheist, any social justice warrior. I put my belief systems up against anyone. And I promise you that I will accept any criticism or critique that comes my way. Now, I haven't even delved into the transgender stuff, simply because I think we needed to lay down a structure of where Unabashedly Resolute is going forward. And I was animated. And most of you that listen to me see a very calm person. You see someone who is very, very even keeled. But I can tell you right now, I have a very robust philosophy that has been beaten and smashed and pulled apart and refined for the last 30 years. I've had every belief structure I've ever had. I've ripped it apart and I've torn it to shred. I have been on the precipice so many times. So many times I've stood on the precipice of a belief system that says, does it live or does it die? I care not. I am not married to my belief systems. Because I want to believe what is true, what is objectively, verifiably true, and what is the inference to the best explanation of all the information that we have. Given new information, let's tear it apart and put it back together again and see if it still works. That's what I spend my life doing. So when these next few podcasts come out and these next few things come out, and I am actually critiquing a culture right now, and I'm critiquing philosophies right now, I want you to know, I am not critiquing a person. I'm not critiquing a person's experience. I am critiquing their belief structure and their worldview. And I'm saying that these worldviews are found wanting. And you're able to look at me and say, well, your worldview is found wanting. I don't know why I did that voice, but it's, you can say your worldviews are found wanting, Wes. That's fine. Show me. Prove it. Prove it. Says who? And why should I believe you? Bring it. Bring it. Bring it. And we will see who is standing at the end of the day. I'm not saying that I will be. I'm just saying, let's see. There might be some things in here that need to be refined in me. I will gladly accept the criticism. But you had better bring something robust. You had better bring something that has been philosophically refined, and it will stand up to its own scrutiny. Here's the thing. If you want to know if it will stand up to its own scrutiny, then apply its logic to itself. If it cannot stand up to its own scrutiny, then it is false. Logic is indeterminate of the presenter. You can't say, well, this person is a person of color, therefore their philosophy is true. You can't do that because that's not how logic and philosophy works. The truth of a statement is indeterminate of the presenter. Now work your philosophy. You say, well, that's a system of white oppression, and logic is, according to the African American Society Museum in the Smithsonian, that's a construct of white supremacy. Why? Because a white person said it. Oh, so now we're simply going on color. So a person's pigmentation determines the truthness or falsity of a statement. Except, I want to give you this as I close. Think about this. Except that's a cheat, because people of color also agree in logic and reason, and I know people, I know apologists who are of color and are of certain persuasions, and yet they hold to the tenets that logic and reason are indeterminate of the presenter. And the same people who say, well, it's white supremacy because a white person said it, they will turn around and say, well, actually, you've internalized your whiteness, and now even though you're a person of color and you should be the intersectional, hit the intersectional markers, because you believe the wrong thing, your color no longer matters. Why? Because that's a logical fallacy called special pleading. Heads I win, tails you lose. And this whole thing of social justice, this whole thing of transgenderism, this whole thing of equity, it's a lie and it's a cheat, because it creates an unfalsifiable proposition wherein it's whack-a-mole and you keep moving the goalposts. And every time that a person meets your criteria, you change the criteria. If I push back on critical race theory, the answer is, oh, you're only saying that because you have white privilege. Well, that wasn't the criteria. The criteria was everything seen through the lens of race. I can prove that not everything is seen through the lens of race. Therefore, critical race theory is incorrect. Yeah, you're only saying that because you're white. Well, it's unfalsifiable. I can't defeat that, because you change the criteria every time I move. And the criteria is different. I hit the criteria and you change it. So that means you are the sole arbiter of the definitions. You're the sole arbiter of truth. Well, logic says that the truth is indeterminate by the presenter. The truthness or the falsity of a claim is based on its context, content, and meaning of the phrase, not on the person, because that's a genetic fallacy. All right, I've got to leave it there for today, but we'll get back to it, and there'll be some controversial stuff coming, because I feel it is necessary for me to, as an apologist, for me to wade into these waters and to give my thoughts on this. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you have a great day. Bye.